here. I want to introduce you.
Well, I'm here.
Up here.
I'm trying to get the people in.
That's okay. I'll go back there and let them in. Okay. I know we just the camera just moved.
Yeah.
It's following. So hopefully, Jared, and hopefully Mike's gonna.
He's going to follow us.
Well, hopefully he's gonna.
This is how it's zoomed in on the screen.
Well, he was manipulating it, so hopefully it's where it needs to be. Okay, so how many of you all know Jerry Heath?
No one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so for the rest of you, and kind of a refresher is that he's been a member for 30 years or over, maybe a little bit over 30 years. 30 years. The organization is only 39 years old. Okay, so he's been around quite a long time.
Members back at the back.
Yeah, well, Bob, definitely. Yeah. So he's had quite an experience with us. He joined the same time that Joe Isaac joined. Any of you all remember Joe Isaac? The late Joe Isaac. He, was our Windows guru, and they joined on the same day. And then he convinced you to start doing the word SIG.
We didn't have one at that time.
Right. And you did that for about a decade, right?
10
10
years. Well, that's a decade. Think of it is.
It sounds longer than that. Okay, not a century, just a decade. And then he moved over to start editing our newsletter. And then you did that another 10 years.
That's a decade too.
So he did that, and then in the middle of that, he decided he's going to be a snowbird. So we lose him for about 6 months down in Florida.
I'm in Florida 6 months.
6 months, okay, and then he comes back to get away from all that heat. So and so he has been promoting this document that you're going to learn about today for quite a while. I want to say at least.
Oh, a long time.
5 years.
10 years. Yeah.
Counting up a couple of decades.
All right. And not only has he promoted with us, you've done it for other computer societies and other, entities. So it's a really good document, and you have refined some things. So I'm actually going to turn it over to you now so that you can start that.
Okay, but I've got to figure out why this thing is not working.
Okay. You may not be able to figure that out. You were holding your mouth right.
Yeah, turn
Okay.
that turn.
Turn the workshop.
I've got the touch you don't have.
I know. Oh, but guess what? Now it is.
It moved out.
I will let.
It started following somebody.
Yeah.
Technology is wonderful. They created computers when they first came out. These computers are going to save you a lot of time. Boy, that was the biggest lie they ever told. Oh, well, at any rate, should I go ahead and get started? Or are we ready to go?
Good. Everybody's in.
Good, okay.
We have 22 people Zooming.
22 Zoom, and how many are here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
I thank you all for participating, I really do. Because this is the most important document I've ever talked about. And it's the most important document that you will be able to create. Because it's so important to your loved ones. And that's what this is all about. It's really a guide for your surviving members when you're not here to answer any questions. This is a document you're going to decide to create for yourself, and it's something you'll be proud of, but it won't benefit you hardly at all. But it will benefit those you love. Now, let's get started. Well, the story. How did I get my start? Now, 3 decades ago. 3 decades ago,
Otherwise known as 30.
I went. 40 years, no. I went to Nashville, Tennessee to visit my sister. She lived down there, of course, and she's no longer around. She died at 99 and a half. And I'm approaching her age. I'm working on it. At any rate, I went down there to see her, just visit. And the newspaper came. And in the newspaper was a story written by one of the reporters in that newspaper about himself. He, his mother and father, of course, he was an oldest son. And it turned out that in time, he got married, had a family, and got a job in Nashville, Tennessee. The family, with the mother and father, was someplace else. I don't know where, but a good distance away. And it's the kind of thing that happens to all of us. People get married, and family members get married, and they move out and on their own, and that's what you want them to do. And of course, he was quite a distance from them, so therefore, there's an occasion where he would visit them on special occasions, just like most families have, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and a special occasion here and there. He would come in, according to his story, he would come in and visit for a couple of days, and then be gone. Well, in 2 days' time, they talk about stuff going on right then. They don't quiz questions and so forth. Well, his mother died, leaving his father by himself. Well, he would visit his father, and when his father died, he was named the executor of the estate. Wow. That he found out he didn't know enough about his dad's life to do anything. And he's the executor. It's a real problem. He said, I wish I had asked questions in the newspaper. He says this, I wish I just asked a bunch of questions, but I never got around to it. It just wasn't the thing to do. And then he said, I wish Dad had just written down some instructions as to where things are, so that it would help him in handling the estate. Well, our loved ones have to handle the estate after we're gone. So it's important that you create the most important document you probably will ever create. So what do you do? Oh, by the way, it's very awkward for someone to ask questions of people about dying, particularly if you only see them a couple of days a year. It's not a really good thing. Not comfortable. Dad, where do you keep what banks do you use? Do you have any investments anywhere? The first thing the dad's going to think, oh, he's trying to push me out the door. He's ready for me to go so I can inherit. Well, he said, I just wish Dad had written some instructions, given me some guidance as to what I was going to have to do. We all need to be doing that. So, he just wanted written guidance. That's the main thing I was trying to tell you. So what's the solution? This is not working exactly right. There it is. That's working right. The solution is you create a word processing document on whatever your word processors are in. You really don't have to write any of this down, because I'm going to give you the information. Everything I'm going to tell you is going to be given to you at the end. So save your pencil, save your ink. Okay. So, at any rate, you create a word processing document and you give it a name. You can give it any name you want. I gave my name, Jerry's Death Data. Is that too gruesome for you? No, you can change something else. You want to call it something else. Survivor's Guide or whatever you want to call it, but it's truthful. It's a death data document. It's a document I have prepared for my kids. And it's not for my benefit, it's for them. Okay? All right, so I chose death data, and I want you to know this is pun intended, it's a living document. It starts out small, you'll add stuff, and then things change. You sell something, you buy something, you need to change your document because you need to discuss what your situation is right at that time. And that could be any time in the next 10 years. As you go along, you'll be modifying this document, every 2 or 3 weeks anyway. And it'll take quite a while to get the original document done because you've got to research a lot of stuff to do it. But you get started on it, and then you keep working at it, and it will become a very valuable document, something you'll be proud of, and someone will say, thank you so much for doing that. So, all right, it's a living document. I keep pushing the wrong button. So some of the topics to consider, and I'm going to go through them. These are topics that basically are working on mine. Did it change again?
It started following you
Why?
because you're waving your hand.
I'll hold my hands full. I'll try not to wave my hands. I'm sorry.
Put your palm up and, okay,
What did that do?
it is supposed to not follow you now.
I can't keep up with technology. It passed me years ago. So at any rate, you start with an introduction. I put a date on it. I started this document at so and so date. It's a document I intend to try to keep current, and it will tell you all the things you need to know about how things work, where I have things after I pass. After I can answer your questions, you can put that way if you want to. Okay, so that's what you do. You start out with that. Where do you keep your important information? Well, I explained to my kids, I keep it basically, I have started my desk. I have 3 file cabinets, 2 drawer cabinets sitting in my little office area. And that's alphabetically, of course. And I do have a portable, fireproof safe, little letter size, fireproof safe. Some very important documents that you don't want to get destroyed by fire. That's the only reason I've got them. The key is in the lock. So there's no money in there. It's just valuable documents I don't want destroyed by fire. And so that's what I keep there. And any place else you might store something, just tell them where to look. These are areas where you keep valuable documents. What's your social security number? Boy, that's the first thing that you need. Just about anything you're going to do. You've got to know the guy's social security number. What's my social security number? My kids need to know. I'm sure they don't know my social security number. And then you have a social security card. Where do you keep it? I have a social security card. My mother stored it for me. She died 35 years ago. I have no idea where that card is. I could get one just for a few minutes worth. I could probably get one from the Social Security, but I don't carry a Social Security card. I don't want it on me. I don't want that number sitting around in the open. So at any rate, I know what it is and I put it in my document. The next thing, birth certificate. Where's your birth certificate? The ideal thing is to have one original and several copies that you just make. Birth certificates. You sometimes have to have these even for a death. And particularly if you're filing insurance papers or collecting an insurance claim, I don't have a death certificate, they want birth certificates and stuff like that. So this is sort of thing that you sort of need to keep together. Where's the will? Do you have a will? You should. Where is the will? Who are your witnesses? Who wrote the will? Who's the attorney? I'm blessed to an extent, and I'm also hurt because I have outlived the author of my will, the attorney, and I've outlived the witnesses. But it's notarized, so I assume it's still a good will. But maybe I need to, it's been years, need to get it out and look at it and get new living witnesses. Good idea, maybe. Obituary. Have you written an obituary? I have. I've written my obituary already. You know, I had a brother-in-law who died at the age of 70, and my sister, his wife, in all the furor of a sudden death, which is exactly what he was, what had happened. Just a sudden death, and all of a sudden, she had to take time to write an obituary for the paper. Had to dig a picture out that could be used, and she did a good job because she had that kind of abilities. But what a heck of a time to have to be fooling with that sort of stuff, you know? Just wasn't, it's not the ideal thing. So I've written my obituary. Where is it? It's in my document. It's right in the document where I can get to it, where they can get to it. I also have pictures in that document that can be sent to the newspaper in color, because the newspaper accepts color pictures and black and white pictures for the same price. So why not? If you've got a good color picture, use it. But do consider your own, what you want in your obituary. You may have a lot to tell, maybe not so much, but whatever. The next thing. Funeral arrangements. Have you made funeral arrangements? Have you contacted the funeral homes? Have you paid for a funeral? Who's going to speak for you at the funeral? Do you have a minister? Do you have a friend? Do you want certain music played? All of that is kind of thing that you just sort of think about. You say, this is what I'd like to see. I like certain songs. There are 3 songs I picked out I want to play. One to play. Just 3. I don't care if they have a funeral for me. By the way, are you going to be buried? Well, you need to. Are you going to be buried? Fine. If you're going to be cremated, what are you going to do with the ashes? Do you want them buried? Do you want them thrown to the wind? My next oldest brother, by the way, I've outlived everyone in my family. I was one of 6 kids. My mother and dad's gone, and I'm the last one. So at any rate, so my brother, next oldest brother, died just a few years ago. He got cremated. He's the first one in the family that was, by the way. I'm planning to be cremated, by the way. He got cremated, and he said he wanted his ashes. He told everyone he wanted his ashes stored in 2 places. One, he wanted half of his ashes put in the corner of one of my bedrooms because they'd be there forever and never get back in there. And the other half he wanted in Walmart so his wife would have to visit him once in a while. But anyway, my ashes are going to be buried. So, that being the case, what burial plot do you have? Have you bought one? And if so, where is it? What is the plot number if you've got that? Mine's been purchased. In fact, I did some changes on it just this last week. I bought a different plot. I still have another plot that I'm going to sell because the value of it is more. But a lot for ashes is a very small lot. Doesn't cost as much. So I bought that. But anyway, those are things that you want to think through and put down so you know what you're doing. Where's the lot? Let me think what else you need to know. Oh, you need to write a burial certificate. That's a thing that you don't get a deed to a grave plot, a cemetery plot. Get a burial. And where is that? Because that's needed in order to get everything done. Well, what about there's a button here that turns everything off. What about the house? If the kids don't know, is the house paid for? Did you pay for it to start with? That's nice to know. That'll help you in making sales of the house, by the way. How old is the house? How big is the house? Have you ever had it surveyed? Well, my house, I know exactly the size of my lot and the exact size of the square footage of the house. Since I know it, why not share it? If the kids don't want to live in my place, which they don't, my kids will want to sell it. And it'll help them in knowing what to sell. If you're in a rental house, where's the rental agreement and what is that rental agreement? You need to discuss this in your document. Do you own any other real estate? If you do, you need to make sure that it's known, because if you don't know it, then there's a problem in trying to sell the estate. And kids don't know everything. But by the way, husbands and wives need to do this as well. You'd say, well, I know husband knows everything the wife does, the wife knows everything the husband do. Wrong. That's not true. That's not true. Each have their own responsibilities and they do their thing, and you think you know what they're doing. Then you have an idea what they're doing, but a husband, wife, you need both of them need to get together and do this document. It's important. Okay, other real estate. By the way, other real estate. My mother inherited. She was one of, I'm going to guess 8 or 9 kids, I don't remember. And her parents owned a big farm, or owned a farm in West Virginia, not a big one, but. And so they decided to equally divide the property for her. So she inherited a piece of property 225 feet wide by 1/2 mile long. What kind of a deal is that? I had to dispose of that. I had to try to sell it. It took a while, but I did manage to sell that and share the profits with the remaining members of the family. Anyway, other real estate. Wrong button. Cars. What cars do you own? If you have one car, where's the deed? Where's the license certificate? Where's the proof of ownership of that car? Because if the car needs to be sold, well, then you need to have that certificate. And what's that called? I can't think of it. The title deed. Yeah. But anyway, you need to know where that is. In my case, I know exactly where it is, and I'll put that in my document so that they can find it. If you've got a lease car, what's the deal on the lease? When does the lease continue? What's that too? Forward. More topics. Bank accounts. Where's your bank account? What bank is it? What is the account number? And who at the bank would you call to if you went there? Now, I have one person at the bank I know. I used to, one time I knew the president of the bank and everyone. They keep buying, they sell these one bank, big banks buy little banks. I don't know any of them. I had one woman that I can go to and she knows me and she has, I've got her name in my document because Becky will take care of anything in my bank account. But you want the account number. If you have nothing else, you have that information here. You can go to the bank and you can speak intelligently about what you're inquiring about. You've even got the account number ready to go.
And do you recommend putting all the passwords?
And what?
Passwords.
Passwords. We'll talk about that in a minute. Do you have a bank lock box? If you do, as a matter of fact, that's great. But you need to know that. They need to know that and go get into the bank lockbox. Where are the keys? You know what? Whenever they get ready to close that box out, 15 years ago, a decade ago, they charged $150 if you didn't have the keys. Because they had to rekey the lock. It didn't cost them $150, but that's what they charged. I don't know what they charge today. But where are the keys? That's important. Now, know where it is. What bank lock? What bank are you using? Savings account, same thing. You need the account number and what bank. Some people, my son has 3 accounts in different banks. I don't know why. That's all right. Whatever he does, it's fine. But at any rate, some people have banks, multiple banks, so you need to list each one so people know where to look. What debts do you own? Did you buy some hearing aids or some appliance and it's on a payment plan? What debts are involved and what has to be paid and when is it due to be paid? So that's known by my kids. Bank debit cards. What is the PIN number for the bank debit card? And of course, what bank and what is the number of that card? And also, Credit cards. I have 4 credit cards, one for each company, Discover, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. I have 4 cards, one for each. I have all 4 of them listed. I have all 4 of the numbers on those cards. I have all 4 information about when they expire. And I have the customer call number for each one. Now, as a matter of fact, anytime I travel, I go to my document and I take those cards and I take cover, highlight that and print just that one small page. And I carry that, hide that in my luggage somewhere in case I lose my wallet while on the road. I've got all the information I need to cancel those cards or to at least freeze them until I can find where my wallet is. Or maybe never, who knows? Okay. Next one. Store charge cards, same things. Account numbers and all that. What about lost wallet? You know, if I die out some city somewhere and they find me but no wallet, then it's a good idea to list what you normally carry in your wallet. Maybe even have a picture of it somewhere for the kids to get. And also, you need to have that sheet to get rid of to cancel those cards if that happens. These are the companies that you need to contact if you lose a card, lose your wallet with all those cards involved. The 3 one of those companies called expert
Credit.
Credit bureaus.
Credit bureaus, whatever they are. And then the Social Security fraud line is, of course, very important too. Okay, move on. Investments. Who has your investments? Do you have any? If you don't have these things, you need to just say, I don't have these. I don't carry any credit cards. I don't have a bank account. You need to spell that out so people don't go looking, trying to find a bank account you don't have, or a credit card you don't have. You solve things for your children by doing this. What accounts do you have and who are they with? Who is your broker? What's the phone number of that person you need to contact? Where are the house keys? You need to know that. And any other keys that you might have. You have a storage place where you hang keys? I do. I have a key rack. And recently I went to the trouble to find the keys that I had there that I knew where they went, and I tagged every key. I still have a few keys sitting there. I don't have any idea where they went. But I hesitate to throw them away because I'm waiting for the time that I find a lock that I don't have a key to. I haven't found it yet. But anyway, that's something to think about. How about odd keys? Do you have any keys that belong to someone else's house? I do. I have a key to another person's house, and I also have keys to my kid's house. I know that. And they may not work anymore either. I don't know. I don't ever use them, but I do have a key for each of them. Okay.
We've lost the screen.
What's that?
The screen is not centered.
Okay.
Screen is not showing. Thank you.
It's because
They're
you
working on
waved again, Jerry.
I quit waiting my
No
signals. Camera moves because I wave my hands. I apologize for this. Technology is just so wonderful. Combination locks. Now I have 2 in Frankfurt. 2 here and 2 in Florida. I have a condo in Florida. I keep one in my gym bag in both places, and therefore, although locks don't cost a lot, but they're worth $15. And why let them go to trash? Because they don't have a combination for them. Combinations are right there, describing the lock and the combination. So you need to do that sort of thing. More things to think about. Property surveys. If you've had one, as I told you, I've got a lot of information about my house. And where is that? Well, I need to put that in the document. Insurance policies, important. Name the policies that you have, who they're with, and the contact, who to get in touch with should you not be alive. They will know how to do this, and they know when to do it And this won't happen to them. My dad died 57 years ago. I bothered to find that out because I was going to do this class. My mother died 35 years ago. My dad died 57 years ago. About 10 years later, my mother got a phone call. Said, hey, Ms. Heaton, how's Mr. Heaton doing? She said, well, he died 10 years ago. Well, he'd been 97 or 97, 96, I think it had been 10 years then. He said, well, he had an insurance policy with us, a small amount, but we need to pay that claim. Well, thank goodness I had a lot of respect for that company. I'm wondering how many big companies today take the trouble. If you don't ask for the money, they may just sit on it and say, thank you very much. So it's a good idea to list all insurance policies. Do you have any hidden money? I do. I get cash and I hide it in the house because I don't want to go to the bank every time I need $40. And I don't carry much cash. In fact, I bet I don't have $10 on me right now. I doubt if I do. But it is because everything I do is on a credit card. But anyway, if you have money and you've got it hidden somewhere, where do you have your money? Wouldn't it be a shame if they sold the couch for $100 and you had $400 hidden in there? That would be a shame. So you don't want to do that. All right, retirement funds. I may have stepped out of the picture. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not even in the picture. Okay. Retirement funds. You need to know what retirement funds are coming in. Of course, that has to be, you have to make notifications in those cases so that they no longer come. It's not a good idea to cash a check on these persons. They put people in jail for that, by the way. Other things, if you have a post office box, and if so, where's the key? Once again, I'm sure there's a fee for that. If you don't have the key, cancel that post office box. What about your pets? Fido. Have you made arrangements for Fido to be taken care of? And if so, what are those arrangements? Or what do you have in mind to happen to Fido once you're not here to take care of Fido? If you don't have that down on paper, this document is basically just a whole list of suggestions. There is nothing demanding that happens in this document. It's not like a will where you're guaranteed to put it in a will, it's going to happen. But this is a document recommending your kids do this. It's up to them whether they really do it, of course. And you just trust that they will. Tickets. You buy season tickets to a football game, basketball game, or to a concert series at the Opera House or something like that. Where are the unused tickets at the time that you got right in the limited season? And you better hope that if that's the case and they find the tickets and you don't tell them where to look, you better hope your funeral doesn't occur on a ball game day. But they probably will go to the game and get you. Okay. Passwords. You mentioned passwords a while ago. I have 100 passwords, 75 days out ago. I keep a list of them in my computer, but it's all in code. Only they're worthless to anyone who looks at it. They don't know what my codes are, but my codes tell me what password I'll use for each company that I communicate with. And I don't care what it is. Whatever password I choose to use, and I think it's the one that I have on paper, it never stops. Because you don't need a lot of space on it. Just have one small document you're going to put on your death data document. I have one for my son. I have one for my daughter. My son happened to be, just so happened I had colors, so he's got a blue one. She's got a pink one. And they know where I keep those documents for them. They know. And we talk about this. I go over at least once a year. And in fact, recently I've gone over it with them. They know where to get their copy of my death data document, which they've never seen. And they don't need to see it. Until, in fact, I prefer they not see it. Until I'm gone. Or until there's an emergency and I can't even, if I'm in a hospital and can't even talk or something like that, they need to have a lot of the data that's in there. So at that point, they can probably activate. Now they take their flash drive and go to their computer. They don't have to worry about a password. They don't have to get my computer. They take it, their own plug it into their computer, they got my document. It's ready to use. How we doing?
That's somehow.
Oh, we're making progress.
Print.
Don't bother print, your kid, I've got it here.
Okay.
Your kids are always going to need to see it. They only need to know where their copy is and how to get it, and this is what I recommend. Get a flash drive for each one. If you have 3 people that you want to get this document from, you don't want your document out. It has information you don't want public. It has passwords, it has account numbers, it has all sorts of stuff in there you don't want anyone to see. Until they have a reason to see it. And they don't have a reason to see it until they need to get their copy like that. Any questions that you might have? People online can't ask me a question, but I'm going to give you a solution in a minute. They've had a question.
As far as your bills that you pay, do you think it's a good idea to list your monthly bills? Because there will be some that are maybe automatic payments, and at some point somebody needs to know all those bills and account numbers and how to stop it.
You remember I told you I lost a credit card a couple of weeks ago? There are 9 things that normally go there automatically. I'm having to move those to another credit card. They'll find it out pretty quick because they'll show up on the credit card.
Or you could have automatic through your bank.
Yeah, and some of them come automatically to the bank, and that of course they'll be alerted that, hey, this can't be paid because this guy's dead.
Yeah, it just seems there might be a good idea to leave a list of what you're.
It could be a good idea to make arrangements for something like that. Next question. Question right here.
I'm not sure I understand why you haven't talked this over with your son and daughter.
Oh, I've talked to, oh my. We
Well,
talk
they
about it
know
all the
all
time.
this.
They know about it. They even know where these drives are. But
Okay.
I've asked them, don't you go there?
What?
But you know where it is, but you don't go there and use it until I'm dead. That's the way I want it. It's up to you what you do.
But should they look, if they looked at it and they didn't understand something, they would have a chance to ask you.
Well, the thing is, they don't have a reason to ask me anything because my document now consists of, after 30 years, 14 pages long. That everything is covered in my document. Everything. And I mean, there's minutiae in there that they don't even need to have, that they're going to get it whether they want it or not. Okay, so that's my document, 40 pages long. What's the next? Oh, we're back to it. Good. To receive your copy of my guide. Rookie, do you have those tickets? And I bought some pencils with me, but I don't know where they are. So if you don't have a pencil, you're going to have to share pencils, or there's some back there in the
We
car.
have some.
And maybe that'll help. But I want you, those that are here in this room, here's what you do. It has 2 spaces on it. I want you to print your name in the top space, and I want you to print your email address in the bottom space. Okay? Now, if you're online, I want you to go to my email address, and that's JERAGAT@gmail.com. So it's right behind me. At any rate, did it change things? It did, didn't it? It changed it.
Anybody like to receive one?
Yeah, it's on you. I mean, yeah, we can change it back up there.
Yeah.
He wants his email address.
Is it correct now? No, it isn't.
Yeah. It'll
He
be
said
on there.
that.
Give me a second.
He's working on it. At any rate, those online, use my email address, JERHEAT@gmail.com. And in the subject line, just put DD document. Now, those here in the room don't have to do that, but those online do. That's how you're going to get your copy of this guide that I'm going to furnish you. And
Jerry, read that out again for the people at home.
What's that?
Read that out again for the people that are at home still online.
All right, it's JERHEAT. It's the first three letters of my first name and the first four letters of my last name, jerheat@gmail.com. And then you put the subject DD-Doc or DDD or Death Data Document, whatever you want, just so long as I know it's not an advertisement selling dispute. And so then when I see that, I will be sure you get a copy of my guide. Now, online, if you have a question, put that in your email and I will respond to it when I send you your copy. And your copy, you need to check your email and it will come to you, everyone here, it'll come to you within 1 or 2 days after this program is over with. 2 or 3 days, okay, 2 or 3 days. All right, now the email that comes to you will be that format for August 2023. That's what's going to come to you. That will be in the subject line probably. That'll be a response to your request.
Will it be like a PDF file?
No, it may be, but I'd rather it be a PDF file, to be honest with you.
But
So if I can make it a PDF file, that's what it'd be.
is it something we can fill out? I mean, then you want it to be a Word document.
Here's
Okay,
what I'm going to suggest.
okay,
Upon receipt, don't print what you get. Do not print it. It's not worth it. But instead, do what I told you originally. Open a Word document on your computer and give it a name, whatever name you give it. Then take this document, this guide I send you, and copy it and paste it into your new data document. You already got your document started. And I want you to, in the first day or two, I want you to finish the first couple of pages. Right away. Get started. I don't want you to think about this. I don't want you to print it like some people have done and set it aside and then can't even find it later on. And they still haven't done this after I talked about it 2-3 years ago. So at any rate, give it a name and then copy and paste your guide into the new Word document, your new Word document.
If you send it as a PDF, we can't edit it, right?
Yes, you can.
The PDF?
no, well, you can convert it, but go ahead and just send it as a Word
If you've got
document.
Microsoft Word,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can read the PDF, you convert a PDF, Microsoft Word.
Okay.
The problem is, if
But
it has
if you-
tables in it, it won't do those exactly
If you
right.
have a problem, communicate with me and tell me your problem. I'll solve it for you.
Okay.
but if you
I'll send
send a
you
Word
text document that you had to copy and paste, but I want you to use that system because the headings are all in place. There are questions under each heading, give you a clue as to what should be in that section. If the heading applies to you, you use it. If it doesn't, you delete it. And you'll be thinking of things that apply to you that didn't apply to me. And you'd want to create a new heading and then like what you had for your kids under that. Now, save your document. That's the first thing, and you're going to work on it some. Okay. Well, before I say this,
No.
I want you, as I said, I want you to actually begin your document within the next 7 days. I want you to make a pledge that you're going to do this as soon as you get it. That's what I want you and those people online to do. You need to do this. Everyone needs to do it. And so, one last thing. Do something really good for your family members today. And that's free of this time. You'll be very proud and you'll feel good about it when you got it done. And they will thank you over again. So, just do it.
yes.
I'm gonna be doing this.
Anybody?
Anybody need another one, or you wanna turn it in?
All right, we'd like to have those things, the yellow snips.
Yeah,
Got 'em?
yeah, you got it.
You got them?
I know.
Okay. You select. Great.
All right, well, thank you, Terry.
Certainly.
I'm sure everybody's gonna do it. including me.
Well, some people have already started some.
Yeah.
You've done a little bit,
Yeah, I know.
but it's one of those things that got laid aside. And I bet
That's
you
right.
couldn't even
It
find
started,
it.
it's like, no, I didn't see.
That's
it.
why I've said this time, there's something different.
Yeah.
I want you to actually start your document and put this in there, and you're underway. It's really got that, you got a leg up on it right there.
All right, okay, so next month we have Barbara Kemp, who is a retired pharmacist. And she is going to, the title of her presentation is, "It Must Be True, I Saw It on the Internet." So she's gonna talk about how to find reliable information about diet and health online and how to spot the phony stuff. So it should be an interesting one. And we'll decide whether we're gonna
And what day
Zoom
is
it or
that?
not. That is Monday, September 11th. Tech Night is always the second Monday of each month. So, not bad. All right,
Now, anyone who's not a member, we'd be glad you consider becoming a member here.
yes, for sure.
We always welcome new members.
All right.
And if you're interested in any of our classes, we got flyers back here,
Yeah,
The yellow fire.
the yellow flyer. Tells you what we're teaching,
Jerry, you had
when,
a question.
Yeah, so you could back it up 2 clicks for that copy and paste and that slide.
Back up 2 clicks.
I think it's 2. Yeah, right there. Thanks.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, I think it's your new word.
And for those online, if you could just now being able to see it, this is the one online. This is my email address and that sort of thing. I'm sorry we have technical problems. That's what made this interesting. We'd all be asleep by now. Have another question? What's another question?
Do you recommend specific documents be put in a lockbox?
Do I recommend what about lock?
Any specific documents be in a lockbox? Like we have a box. that
Let me
we
tell you a
pay.
little story about lockboxes.
Okay,
A woman I know, 35 years ago, her husband was a Greyhound bus driver and he was on route and they took a break. He died at whatever that site was. When she was reported, she got the word of that. She immediately took her valuables, her jewelry and stuff like that, put it in the lockbox. It was interesting. That's a mistake. Because when they opened the lockbox, she had to pay taxes on everything in that box. Not the ideal thing. So what about lockboxes? The same thing I put in the fireproof safe, something you don't want to lose in the fire. If it's something valuable like money and so forth, then of course the lockbox is what a fireproof safe at home doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to be still there later on. Particularly when I leave the key in it, which I do, because I don't want them looking for a key when I'm not there. Say, hey, the key is there. In fact, my instructions are the key is in the lock. But I also say I've got a spare one hanging on the wall. At the key man. Yes, Bob.
one thing I heard one time from a fireman said, if you have, things where you really need a quick action on the, for the family, write it on paper, put it inside a package, keep it warm, or not warm, but dry, keep it in the refrigerator. That's where firemen go first.
That is true. In fact, some of them have even distributed glass tubes with lids on them that you can put instructions in there for firemen as to what medicines you're taking and so forth like that. That's what that's really intended for.
I keep it on the refrigerator door. All my medicines.
You have all your medicines on the refrigerator
Yeah,
door.
it's told the EMTs will look there for.
I don't think I've got a big enough refrigerator. No, I'm not that way, really. All right, anything else, folks?
All
Look
right,
here, I've done it.
well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
so much.
And thank you online for those who survived and still with us. I hope you enjoyed it.
Stop recording up there. I will. I will.
I hope everyone